Get the pastels ready.
Morning, Jennifer.
Morning, Jennifer.
You all right?
You all right?
I don't know if
I don't think you need me yet.
Just testing
the sound out.
If you can hear me when I'm
doing this.
Oh, morning,
Arctic.
Artifici. So you're on YouTube.
Are you, Jennifer? Right.
If you can hear me,
just say yes, because I don't know whether you can.
Yet,
because this is not meant to be on live yet. But you might be able to hear me.
Yes, but
echo. This is the problem.
I'll just
knock out
the volume
on here.
There's still an echo. Got one of these mics. Jill from Holiday Village.
A little bit of an echo.
I've got a new mic
that I've got to a shirt attached.
And I've only put it on 20 minutes ago. So it could that camera, aren't you? It could be. I can sort it out after. At the moment, there's that many different sound things on this thing. It might be that I'll have to sort the echo out after I've done this, because if I start fiddling around now, you could get all sorts of weird sounds. So I'll just have to move this up a bit, see if it'll stop if I move it nearer to me. If I move it nearer to me, it might stop the echo a little bit. So I'm here. What I've got to remember is not to walk away, because this cord is only about a metre and a bit long. So if I tend to forget and walk away over there to get a coffee or anything, I'll drag everything else with it. So just I will get the sound right. I've just bought this Rode mic, and it's quite pricey, so it should do the job, but obviously it only came this morning, so I haven't had time to sort the sound. I'm rambling. I'm just rambling. It predicts text change your name, that's alright. Arctic, yeah. Actually, Artifici is what I use for my email. Artifici, which is an Italian word for artist, so that's my website, my sort of Gmail account, Artifici. Hi Alison. Weird sound. I can't. Lynn. Can you just check the sound you're getting down there? I don't know why we've got a weird sound. Lynn's going to check it on the bit down there. I can change to another microphone, which I can do. I can change to any one of these mics, which I might have to. What? A lot of echo. What's that like? Is that okay? I don't know why it's doubled. I haven't a clue. Is that okay or not? Why are we getting an echo? Don't get an echo at home. Try another mic. What? I can't hear you.
Right. Am I echoing? Still I've got I've got 4 microphones here, and I can switch any one on. So wait a second. Right, is that echoing? It's okay. Right. I'll insist it's okay, so I presume it is. That's it. Right. I've just switched to what? It's rubbish. No echoes from the whole division. What? It was better before. What's that like now? I don't know. Is that all right there? I've turned all the speakers off. I've turned them all off, and I'm only going to use the laptop speaker. Does that work? Is that better with the laptop speaker? Is that better with the laptop speaker? Yes, thank you, Alison. Right, all these blinking speakers I bought, and the laptop's the one that's working best, so I'll take this off. I'll have to get it sorted. Right, let's get going. Let's get going before you all get annoyed. Right, perfect, good. Right, so I've just spent a couple £100 on microphones that don't work. Let's see if I can wrap them up and send them back to Amazon. Right, so what we're going to do now, just go to the main view so you don't see the comments on there. Right, so we're going to do, I'm going to go over the pastels because Jennifer was asking about them. So I'm just going to go over the pastels. Teething problems. As if you can hear me yelling up the stairs. Yeah, I can always hear you yelling up the stairs, Lynn. Right, so we're going to do this pastel, which is Ullswater. And if you remember, we did Ullswater as a watercolour a while, so we're going to do it similar, but pastel skies and stuff. If you look just behind me, there's some of the pictures, the originals that we've done over the last few weeks and months in the class. Right, morning Facebook user. That's somebody coming from the gallery side. That's somebody coming from the Facebook Gallery Club. And if you haven't pressed the link, all I'll get is Facebook user and not your name. If you're coming through normal Facebook, I'll get your name, but if you're coming through the group that I've formed, you have to give me permission to see it. And there's a link on there. If you click that, you should be able to do it. So I know Facebook, I know you, but I don't know you because you'll have to put your name in Facebook. I'm going to start paying, otherwise we'll be here all day. Right, pastels. This is for, like, if you want to know about pastels. There's different types and the different sort of qualities and stops. Morning, Anne. Morning, Anne. I don't know if you're the fit. Well, yeah. And you've come at the wrong time. I'm rambling. Right. So this is my pastels here. They extend over there towards the yellows, and there's different makes, and that is the Ludwig. Jen, it was you just trying each side. Yeah, I think, Jennifer, you have to click on a link that I sent you to that group and allow it permission to see through or something like that. You only have to do it once, not every time, just once, and then I'll be able to see what you are. Right, pastels. I use unison pastels, which are these, which are not them, which are these, sort of a rounded, I mean it's squared off because I've been using it a lot. So I've got lots of mixtures here. I've got unison, I've got Senelia. Now Senelia are round and hard pastel, they're very hard. I bought them because I thought they would work for harder lines drawing, but I find that they don't in the end. Pencils work better, I think. And then this is another one I bought. These are like rocks, and they're no good. They're no good. The best ones I've found are the unison pastels, which are all these rounded ones in the box. handmade and rolled by this. I mean, he's died actually. The artist that did it up there, up in Kielder. When I went up, he was there, but his family make them all. So the hand rolled, and you get the various. Because you. Wait a second. I'll just go back on these. Sorry, I'll say these are Terry Ludwig pastels. These are pricey. Man, the Unisons aren't cheap. They're good. They're the best pastels I've got. These are pricey. And Terry Ludwig, and a lot of Americans now are making pastels in, wait a second, you can see how they're very dusty. It comes off on your fingers quite easy. And a lot of American companies, and even Unison up in Kielder Forest started doing it, making when I was a kid, they used to make, pastels used to be either a landscape set or a portrait set. That's what you bought, a landscape or a portrait. And they bought each stick in a tint. So from like 0 to 9 was the tint. So you would go from pale of that tint to darker of that tint. You didn't have white pastels and mix them. So each pastel had a tint. Doesn't seem to happen now. But if you're going to buy pastels, buy good quality, because the cheaper ones have too much chalk in, so they don't hold together well. These ones, the Terry Ludwig and the Unison, are pure colour. They've got less binder in, they've just got enough to hold it, so the pastel just comes off onto the paper, very soft, and they're more permanent, like your paints. You know, you buy good quality artist's colour if you wanted that. So don't buy cheaper pastels, and I don't use oil pastels. I kind of get away with oil pastels. These are chalk pastels. So if you can, invest in some Ludwigs or Unison, or have it, if you ever fancy to drive up to Kielder, it's a little farmhouse where they make them, hand make them, they're lovely. So do that, Ludwig. And what they're doing now, and Unison are doing the same as well, is they're making smaller sets of colours. So they're making sets of blues or sets of greens or yellows. So you can buy various sets. If you go online and look for Terry Ludwig, you'll see all the different designs. Get them in England. Unison up Kielder Forest, but you can get them in England. You buy them in the art shop at Darlington. But a set's quite good. So anyway, I've broken my pastels down into a box, and I'll keep them like that. Lynn knows I'll keep them like that. They'll always be in colour range. I'm good like that. I'm a hick. Morning, Gillian. Are you all right? Anne, are they from the Northumberland, the Unison? Yes. The Unison pastels. They up in Kielder, and it takes them finely. I mean, you probably find it dead easy now because you've got sat-nav and stuff. But when I went up to see them, I was driving around, stopping in villages, asking where they were, and they're very isolated. But you'd find them now. And it's just a little farmhouse converted. It's all the family, and they've even hired local people to give them jobs as well, because there's that Americans are buying them like mad. So what was just an artist and his wife now got all the family members involved and other people, and they hand roll them. So have a look at them. If you want, you can get half sets, and I don't mean that's just half a set. It means they've half the pastel, so it's half the size without the labelling on, and that's a good idea. You can't have labelling. I mean, if we were to leave labelling on these, my wife went balmy when I broke all these up from the nice box. They were in a nice box like this, but they had labels on. They were all wrapped. So when I tore all the labels off and started snapping them up into smaller bits, I can't that camera, smaller bits, then she wasn't very happy. But that's all you can do. Right, I'm going to get on. So I'm going to zoom in. If the sound is all right, I'll carry on like that and send that microphone back. So we're going to do Ullswater. I'm going to zoom the camera in a minute. So when we get started, and I'll just try keeping an eye on. Just try keeping an eye on your comments. So if I miss comments, it's not that I'm ignoring you. Right. So Ullswater. We did this as a watercolour.
Listen.
It's
It's
echoing.
echoing again. I have changed. I don't know why it's echoing, Alison, because I haven't changed cameras. Echo on my voice. Wait a second, I'll put that off.
It's echoing again when I changed. Did it do it when I changed from? I think it changed. It might have changed when I put onto a different camera, right? Which means I've got to get rid of that. Is it better now? Okay, now, yeah. It's when I've changed the cameras, different cameras are picking up. Right. Okay, that's fine. Let's get painting. So I'm going to zoom in for you, so that you can see this a bit better. I'll just leave it open for a sec. What I want to do is Ullswater, and I want it looking up, so you've got Howtown, etc. on this side, Glenridding, which you won't see in the distance, and the lake just down here. So I want a big sky. I'm going to do a more blustery sky. So I'm just going to lightly draw in where I want things to be, and then I'll zoom in. So I want the distant hills to be down here, so I want a lot of sky in this picture. So I'm just going, I'll zoom in. You just have to wait a second. I think Steven Spielberg is going to come and sort of sort all this lot out afterwards. So I want the hills to be about there, like that. The far hills over the other side, just sort of disappearing into the distance. Like that. So that's going to be the far hills. That's going to be the sort of the bottom of them on the lake side. I might make them a bit bigger as I go along. That's going to be the bottom. So that's going to be the lake down there, like that. And then you're going to have trees coming down through here, like that, through this area here, and grasses down here. And then you've got over the other side, Howtown area, you've got the bulk of the sort of edge where all the woods are coming down through here, probably a bit higher. That comes down there like that to the lake. So that vanishes back. So that's going round Ullswater towards Glenridding, like that. Make that a bit taller. And that is coming out there, and that's your Howtown area there. That's the lake side at the bottom. So that's sort of my problem as well. Is I'm drawing downwards and I'm not seeing it. I'm trying to keep out of your view, so I've got to try and make sure I get it level. We don't want a slanty lake, so I'll get closer to it afterwards. So this is where you walk right round. So if you were to set off from Pooley Bridge, Howtown round here, walk right round this land, right round the other side of the lake, come up on Glenridding along there, and then catch the ferry back across. And then this is trees. We're going to make this trees here, down through here, to the lake's edge, like that. So that's the lake. So this is going to be all nice sky. That's sort of cloudy, a bit of cloud, a bit of everything going on. And one of my blues on that Ludwig, not bright blues, they're not, it's vanished already. I've used it up, I've done that many different ones with it, so all I'm trying to do is keep moving up on the, that's all right, nobody's coming. Right, so this is what I did the other day, just to show you. So I'm going to put in some darkish cloud, just using the same thing as I've used here. So I'm going to put this sort of darker cloud in, darker sky. I'm not going for bright blues. I'll put some blue in, but not going for bright blues. And you see where I put that on Tuesday? I'm just going to scrumble lightly over it. Not lose it, but just scrumble lightly. The beauty of the pastels is if you can just scrumble into them. I'll zoom in a bit far. I don't think I can zoom in anymore, or can it? But the camera's only here. You can see there. Right next to me. Right, so we're putting some landing sky in here. So we're coming down, putting sort of a belt of cloud going across there, like that. Just sort of drifting off over to there. working it along, getting it dark. I'm going to put some blues in, and I'm going to put some very light ochres in. So just gently scrumble across so the parts of the yellow ochre still show through. You just build levels and just drift it down into the hills, because the hills will go on stronger. So got that. I'm going to put a little bit of paler blue in, not bright. It's sort of greyed off a little bit. So we're going to put some blues in round here. Can you see the blues just into there like that? So I want a sense of a little bit of sky just breaking through. Just put some pressure on like that. Be careful when you're doing these square ones that you don't use the edge, because if you use the edge, you'll see the line. Just do it lightly at the moment, getting the blues. So fetching the blues down through to here, along here. Across here like that. A little bit of this side. And these are the Ludwig ones. A nice pastel to use if you want to go into pastels, Unison or Ludwig, and it depends on how much money you want to spend, be quite honest, what sort of sizes you get. That box of Ludwig was over 200 quid. That's for what, about 36 colours? 60 colours, but you can buy smaller sets. It all depends on whether you want to do flowers or portraits with it, because if you're doing flowers or portraits or anything, you need a different range of colours than landscapes. Right, so we sort of built the blue up a little bit like that, and I would just pull the cloud down into the land a bit, so it just looks as though it's creeping across the top of the land there, like that. And then you want a yellow ochre. So I've got a strongish yellow ochre here, and I'm going to put it in, then sort of tease them down. So a little bit of stronger yellow ochre up here. Harder sort of colouring, and then just sort of drift it. You just sort of brush it over the blues so it just breaks up. You don't pressure on it, just dust it into the blues. So you're just breaking up the blue sort of light, etc. Who would want to do flowers? Yeah, who? Right, and then a bit yellow ochre up in. I'm going to put the darker sections of it, and then we're going to blend light into it. So this is where you want this sort of yellow ochre. And again, harder pressure up here. As you come into the blue, just scrumble it in. Just sort of a scrumble, so you're just getting a sense of the blue coming through it, and a little bit of the ochre light into there. A little bit stronger just here, a little bit up the top. I mean, there's a mount going to go over here. I've got tape around it, but it'll be mounted farther in. I won't be taking the mount right to the edge. So a bit up to there, a little bit round here. So this looks bright, but it's going to be toned down. I'm just creating dusts of clouds here and there. Just wiped Glenridding out. So through the blue, like I said, getting your yellow ochre, just very lightly screw. The beauty of pastels is you can see the undercolours. You just drift colours in. That's how you mix them better. You just drift and sort of brush colours over so that one colour comes through another one. I'm going to put some darker blues in, more like grey blues in a second, and then just get that up, just ever so lightly in places. And then I'm going to just change to a lighter ochre. So not so bright, so I'm changing to a lighter ochre. Any second now I'm changing to a lighter ochre. Right, lighter ochre. And we're going to get some sense of light into this. So up into the top corner here, harder across the top. pressing on a bit there so that I get rid of the dark colour of the paper a bit. But sometimes the paper coming through is nice, and then coming down into the blues and the ochres and just lightly blending them. So you're just blending them in. I'm just sort of tracing it sort of over the blue a little bit. So you're just creating a more blustery feel. A little bit lighter up here. It's not going to be a sort of dramatic sky. We're going to lighten it all up. I just want to get the undercolours fitted in. So into there, a little bit more cloud into that blue. And it's just traced. You'll get I'll send you the video so you'll be able to look at it closer and see the light just forming on it. And sort of want a biggish cloud just there. And creating a big cloud just here. You know, we've got in a second, we've got little coffee tables, very mini coffee tables, just down here, 3 of them next to the seats. And somebody came up yesterday while I wasn't here, but Alvin was watching. Somebody came up yesterday, and he sat on the only literally minute. Instead of sitting on the chairs, he sat on the coffee table and smashed it, and then he went down all over the floor. He was embarrassed, so he bought a painting. But we were able to use Windrow Sports, the good lads over there. They actually mended it for us. Right, so I'm just rambling a bit. I'm just getting bits of colours blended in. I'm just going to put a bit darker blue in a couple of spots. Not bright, just a bit darker, so I'll just get a little bit duller colour somewhere from the blues. I just want a little bit sense of darker cloud, just sort of drifting under here. That's sort of this is a harder one, this. You can hear it's harder. I might raise the landscape up a little bit. A little bit harder cloud just there. I'll get a darker blue. Just get a slightly darker, stronger blue. Just a little bit. It's a bit brighter, but it just wants just to feel a little bit of harder blue into it, so you feel as though you can see through the clouds and see just some little hint of blue sky. So a little bit more up here. Can you see? It looks very bright, but we are going to tone it down. So you've got this sky up here now, basically in, and now I'm going to drag lighter pastels over it to tone it all down. So I'm going for one of the Turry Ludwigs, very pale blue. It's not white, just very pale. And I'm dusting that over the picture. The beauty of pastels is allow some of the other colours show through. Don't feel you need to obliterate even the paper. It has a sense of light and depth if you just allow some of the paper to show through, as well as some of the pastel underneath. You're just creating that sort of. And when you go into the blues, just a gentle dusting. Got any questions? Gail, just logged in. Exciting. I'll have to try that in pastels. Billy, will this pastel lesson end up on Yes, it will. The lesson I did on Tuesday and the lesson, this one, I'll send it onto your library, onto your current lessons. I've just got to edit it a bit because there's a lot of rambling and talk about flowers and things and echoes. So I'll have to edit them, Billy, and then I'll send it up to you. Right, so you're going over that, you put a baseline in, you're going over with this very pale blue. It's hardly got any pigment in. It's not white, it's just a pale blue. It might look white, and that's basically because the camera is actually picking up a lot of the light. But when you see it, you'll realise it's not as bright. I've also got a window coming, a bit of sunshine coming in from that side, which is probably why that corner's a little. So where I put the darker blue now, I'm just going to drift this paler blue over it. Just very lightly in parts, heavier in other parts, so you leave parts of the blue coming through. A lighter cloud here. You want a sense of a bit of a white light cloud just there, just above the darker cloud. So just a light bit just into there, and just tease that gently up. So just scrumbling in. A little bit of light into here. So this is sort of like the top of this cloud here. Just drift it down. I might put a bit of crimson and grey into there to tone it down. Into this blue. I'm just going to have a look, see if I can knock out some brightness on that. 1 second, because there's a lot of brightness on that. Is that better? I've took the brightness out. There's a lot of brightness on. So you get the drift of the clouds. You put pressure on where you want it to be lighter, and then you just sort of drift it upwards into the blue. Just light pressure, just pushing it up. And we want a sense of light down here on the far distance. So just drift it down into these darker colours you've done, just over the top of them. You're glazing them really and letting some of the original colour come through. So you're just sort of dragging in. And I may grey off some parts. So I've got the cloud coming down here. I'm going to leave that as a little bit of blue just there, and just sort of put some light here. I might raise this land up a bit. Got a lot of sky. I might just raise that. So I'm going to imagine a low-lying cloud just here in the distance. I'll tone it down, but imagine a low-lying cloud, and you've got the light just coming through over there, heading towards sort of the Glen Ridding area. So a little sense of the light. Little sense of light through here. Yeah, definitely going to lower the land. Look, raise the land a bit. It's still strong. That's looking very strong compared to how I see it. Compared to how I see it on my actual paper, it looks a lot stronger. So when you get it, you'll find it's not as strong as what it's looking here. I'm happy with it, but I'm having to tone it down a bit for the camera, really. So I'm just toning it down a bit into these areas here. A little bit of pale yellow ochre, very pale ochre, down into the area down here. This is sort of where the light is, so the feeling of just a little bit of light on Glen Ridding over there. Just a little bit of sunlight catching that. Like the clouds, the sun's going down below the clouds. The clouds have been there raining, and you're just starting to see a sense of light coming out from under the cloud over to there, in that area there. Just drifting a bit. Now I'm going to use a grey now, just to get a bit of grey into some of the clouds. So I just want a touch of grey out of the that's better. Just a slight touch of grey in under these clouds here. Can you see that grey? Just making, like I said, it's looking stronger than what it actually is on camera. Alison, sorry Eric, what pastel paper? Senelia, Alison. Senelia comes, you get it from Jackson Art. Senelia on a board. I mean, when I say a board, I don't mean a heavy board. It's stiff card behind it, and it holds a little bit of tooth to it, so it's fine. Just want I want a sense of cloud here, so I'm just going to put a bit of grey under that cloud there. Very lightly scrumble it up, but make it a bit stronger just down here, so it just feels like you've got a bit of cloud line, and just drift some of that grey into the cloud. Like I said, it's I keep looking back at the screen and seeing that it looks very strong. It could be something to do with the camera settings in here. I'll have to get this sorted out along with the noise value. So you've got that sense of grey just coming out there. You can make, I'll put a little bit darker in there. I want that cloud to be definitely stronger. And then I'm just sort of drifting a little bit of grey. What you want is the feeling of low-lying cloud just above where the light is starting to come out. So just drifting this cloud across like that. Into there, just drifting through. And maybe a couple of slighter little bits of cloud just ever so gently just in there. So what I'm going to do first of all is raise the land. I'm going to put a bit of blue, a bit of paler blue into this sky. So I'm going to go up to here, just drag a little bit of paler blue in. I'm aware that it looks stronger on your camera, on the screen. I'm aware it does. Wait a second, I'll just change to the other camera just to see if that makes a difference. Can you see it's not as bright, but I can't get that camera to zoom in any farther. But you can see it's not as bright as what you think it is on the other camera, like that. So just for use, I'm going to tone these down a bit, and this is the very pale blue, and I'm just sort of drifting in. Put a bit of blue in down here. You're just getting a little bit of blue sky coming through there. All up here. You want a feeling of cloud with just some blue sky peeking through in places. Looks like a lump there. That's it, you've got that. It looks stronger, but I'm going to sort of blend it in. So I'm going to raise the land from where I drew it, which I drew it down here. I'm going to raise the land a little bit so that it's so we've got the land just that bit higher. So you're trying to get the sense of cloud and light just coming, like a low-lying cloud and a sense of light coming through. I'm just going to drag a little bit more into there. Just dust some cloud in. That's alright, that's looking alright. Right, so I'm going to put the land in. I'm going to sort of make the land look in the distance. So we need a sort of purpley feel to it, sort of get purpley blue type feel. So I'm going to put purple in. Can you use oil pastel? No, you can if you wanted to. Oil pastels are a different thing. You can't mix them with the oil pastels. I've used them, but I don't like them. I like the chalk ones. Wish you were what? Wish you were clever. I thought you were saying I wish I was there. Right. So we're going to put the hill in, the distant hill. So we want it coming across there. I'm going to put it in stronger and then tone it down. So we sort of got. This is quite purpley, and I'm going to tone it down as we go along. So let's go along here. Down below, and then just sort of rises up a little bit just there. And I'm going to put some sense of light into the hills. And then it goes down and drifts away over towards Glenridding. Just get it in as a strong line first. So you get that sense of land. I'm going to put light into this, so don't worry, it won't all be purple feel. Right, want some green in. Want some blue in to neutralise that solid purple that I've put in. So we want a little bit of blue dragged into that. Can you see it there, that blue? And it's the same principle as doing the sky. Just drag the colours across each other, so you leave suggestions of foliage and hills. And want it to get brighter as it goes over towards Glenridding area. So we've got that coming along there. And you see it there just lighting up. You'll see it better. And like I said, you're getting a more contrasty view on this camera for some reason. You're getting a more contrasty view than what I can see. But I will alter all this up. I'll get them sorted. If you give us another 6 months, we'll be all right. So a little bit of blue. And what I would do, I'll tell you what, I've got it, it's because I'm standing up. I've got it at quite a tight angle down, so I'm going to make it higher just here. And just a bit higher there. So drag the blues across. We're going to drag greens into there now. Sort of lighter greens, just to start making it just going to do a green. I don't want it bright, so I've got a unison green. And I'm going to sort of just drag a little bit of light in to break up parts and give the suggestions of little bits of like tree and foliage coming down through it. Just drifted in. Now as you're getting over to here, as you're getting over to this side here, you want it to be lighter still. So I'm pushing the green into it a bit more. So it wants to feel as though it's going distant. So I'm sort of shoving the green onto the purple there, just above the lake. And I'm going to drag even lighter colour in. So I've got that green in. I'm going to drag lighter colours across to that side. So you want a pale, a very pale sort of blue. So I've got a little bit there. So very pale blue, and just drift. Can you see that going in? Just drifting in a little feeling of, as though the light's catching it farther over there. So just a little touches of the blue into that area, and drag some of it through here. Beauty of pastels is you can get some nice shades by just allowing colours to shine through. There's bits of the paper here showing through, bits of the purple, bits of the blue, and it all adds to that sort of little bit of, let the eyes sort of blended together and make what it is. You know what I mean? You let fool the eyes into thinking that it's a good picture. Right, I want some light. I want some more yellowy type light into it, but not bright. So I want a little bit of yellow ochre, but just pale. And I'm just going to drift that in. And these are the Turry Ludwigs. Just in a couple of stages, so you're just dragging in a sense of hills and the darks you leave of the foliage. So you just little touches of light here and there. Just dragging, and more light as you're getting over into this area. So I'm putting more pressure on. Putting more pressure on as you go over to here. And that wants to be sort of in light at the bottom, like that. And you can darken it. You can darken it across the top edges, so you can make it just so it stands out from the edge there. You can sort of just put a little bit of harder edge just onto the top of the hill, like that. So you just drift some of it down in. Right, I'm going to put a bit more light into this. I'm losing pastels here. Right, I'm going to put a bit more light into here. So I'm going to put a little bit of yellowy colour in, a bit of the yellow in, just to create a little sense of light on it, a fraction. So just looking as though there's little bits of sunlight coming through. Got a bit of muck there. Just as though there's sunlight coming through and lighting up. You know, it's breaking over the hills, so just a little touches here and there as though sunlight is breaking onto some of the edges. Like that, and especially over to this side. Right, I want to blend some of this cloud, like it nearly is there, down into the hill. So I'm just going to get the sort of the off blue a bit. I'm just going to drift some of this cloud down and into the hill to make it look as though it's catching the tops of the hills. Just leaving a little bit of light here and there, but just drifting some of the cloud down and let it blend over the hill like that. So it's just drifting in as though you've got a little bit of low-lying cloud catching these hills here and here. Now when in the sort of, this is quite high here, and in the early sort of part of the year you would get quite a bit of snow on the top of there. I'm not too sure about, I'll put it in, but if it looks strange, I'll take it out. So I'll just put a white in it there, just to suggest some touches of snow on the hills just up there. You might not see it from the camera there. I can't zoom in anymore, but I'm just trailing a little bit of snow just on them hills. It might look a bit off. I don't like it. I'm just going to trail it out. The thing with pastels is you can put things in. This picture looks fun. The camera is on a slight angle to the picture. Wait a second, if I turn it round. There's nobody in, I'm all by myself. So I can turn this camera, the canvas round a bit so that it fits in the right angles on there. So just use some flicks of light here and there, just to catch the sun a bit here and there. Now, over on Glen Ridding, you can sort of drag in some bluey greys into Glen Ridding so that you just tone it down a bit so it's not bright. So I'm going to get just an off blue, and I'm going to drag sort of bits of the hills up there and drag it down into the land a bit, so you're creating shadows onto the land just over there like that, just little trails of shadows. It could be trees, tree lines, etc. into there. Blend them in a little bit so that it doesn't become too obvious. I think that's right. I think the cloud's looking fine coming down over there. And I'll make one or two trails just along here, break up that yellow so that you just feel as though there's foliage coming down through it here and there, like lines of trees. I think that's all right. I'm going to just peel down the sky with a real sort of pinky colour, pinky yellow, very pale. I'm just going to drift into this sky a little bit. Just heavy in parts, like where you want the lighter cloud to be, but just lightly scrumbling into the other parts, so you've got a sense of very wispy cloud, clumped in places, but just drifting through the skies itself. It's just drifting through, allowing little bits of the blue to peek through here and there, but then stronger on the top of the cloud. So like that, so stronger on the top of the cloud, and just drift it down to the bottom of the cloud, and then let the light shine through just underneath the cloud, just there like that. But I've got some of the cloud drifting down into it there. Just odd piece of light just flicking through. So there's just an odd break of light just flicking through there. And the same over here, just like I said, it's not as strong as you think. Just glazing. I'm glazing it over more than I would if I was drawing it, because I'm looking at the screen seeing dark. So I'm not going to go too far, because I know that I'll be taking it too much, too light. Just dragging a bluster of cloud into it. A bit of light on Glen Ridding, sun shining on the pub, and the sun shining on the land just there. It's coming through from there, just breaking through and picking out little specks of buildings, etc. of the edge. Just slightly farther round, but if you walk around there, it's a canny walk to get the ferry back. I stayed a few places down here. Jen, Terry Ludwig soft pastel set, 30 basic landscape, 180 quid. Special price 126 Jackson's Art, yeah. Portrait the same price. No flowers though, Anne. Yeah. They're very good, and they'll last you a long time. The only bit of my Terry Ludwig's, where's Terry Ludwig gone? here, in a second, is them colours, those colours there have vanished quite quick, because I've done, I think you saw some of them, I did quite a few winter scenes earlier this year, and them colours seem to be prominent from it. All the rest of the colours are still quite full. I don't know if you can buy individual colours, I presume you can. Right, so we've just flicked a little bit of light into Glenridding, or just the area going around the corner to Glenridding. And you can flick a little bit of light just here and there, just to suggest little touches. What I'm going to do now is put the lake in along there, and we just want a sense of very pale light for the lake. My problem is I'm looking at an angle, so you'll have to yell and tell me if, in a second, if it's not level. So I'm going to have to stand like this and go level across here. So I raise the land up, so the lake is there. This is the lake. We'll tone it down, just defining it. Going over. It is on a slant a bit, and that's because if you've ever tried painting from the side, looking down like I'm trying, it's really hard to get the angle right. But I can adjust it afterwards. That's all right. And that lake comes round here under there. Right, we'll add a bit of colour into the lake. That was just shaping it up. So we'll add a little bit, sort of pale blue into it. So we just want a little sense of blue into it. I don't want to be bright because it's reflecting a blustery sky. That might be too bright. I'll put it in, and I'm going to tone it down with a bit of yellow ochre. I don't want it to be bright. Don't want it to be bright. Right, so I'm going to put a bit of very pale yellow ochre, the same colours as the sky really, so it just tones it down a bit, so that it's not too light and not too blue. Like that. We've got that into there like that. What you want is you want a sense of tree line going round that whole thing, because you have low trees, which you know when you're driving around. So you just want a sort of a sense of a greeny blue going round there. So if I can find a greeny blue that's not bright. Can you see that? You'll see it on the video. It's just, I'm just sort of breaking a little bit of greenery through there, just to give a sense of the tree line that goes round the bottom when you're driving round. Don't need to make it too obvious, just, it's meant to be in the distance, so it's just very sort of pale suggestion of, and as you're getting over to this side, it just wants a few touches because the trees are that far away. You just want some light touches on the land. Sorry, the bottom. You can put the furry in if you want. You can always go under, and what I'll do is when I can get in front of it without obstructing your view, I can level the water off. I can take a pastel along and level the water off. So I've got that, a few little, same colour, just a suggestion of darker foliage here and there, just coming down, just a touch. We'll put this side in. So we want this massive, it's trees really, growth. When you walk through, it's just like a hill with trees and that on it. We'll make it dark and then we'll tone it out. So I'm going to make it dark with a real sort of something, a dark colour here. I've got a dark pastel here. So we want the land to come down here like this. This is sort of the edge. Drag it into there and sort of fetch it. It sort of comes down, steps down a little bit, and then sort of steps out. And over like that, and then just a little patch of the land there. So it's sort of coming down to the bottom. And then going across the bottom there. The racket you can hear is my daughter down there, cutting mounts, etc. We're actually going to do a view in the class. We're going to do a watercolour of this afterwards. This is just something I decided to do. We're going to do a watercolour, not of this particular scene, a view looking higher up down, sort of on the Pony Bridge area, and that's for Dawn, who took a photograph when she was over there because her dad's just died, and she would like to do a painting for her mum. So we're going to do that from a photograph she sent me. So you can see that this is sort of going round, and I'm going to add various colours in here so that you can see the land. So just going to tone it down in places. So that's a sort of a very dark black, but now we need to sort of lift it a little bit. So you want just sort of a light, I would suggest a lighter green just coming in across here. So you can just see a little bit. That's a bit solid, that's not working so well. Just get a lighter olivey green. That's better. I'm just drifting in a sense of green foliage of places, but still leaving it as a silhouette along the top edge. And if you get down here, little patches dragged down. You want some browns in as well, so you want that olivey green, but you want some browns in so that we're getting brown's not a colour I use much in pastel, but I've got some here. So you want some, don't know if you can see it there, brown dragged in for the land. You want it to come down, and as you walk around, you're walking just inside, so you want it to come down and lighten up, and then trees. So you want it down here like that. Make it stronger just here. Stronger just as you get that silhouette of land just there. Just that patch of edge just there on the lake side. What time is it? Oh, you're all right. Like that. So you've got that dark silhouette there. Now what you need to do is lighten that just a little bit. So a little bit of light ochre, not too, I'm finding a light ochre. I'm finding a light ochre, folks, there we go. Just drifting a little bit upwards into a fraction. Down at the bottom edge. You know this is going to kill my back, leaning like this. Imagine it just sort of, you know, the lines here, the water lines here, and then there'll be trees in here, and then it's just rising upwards, and there's various, obviously, trees in this area. So don't make it too bright, just down the bottom end, and then just drag the dark back over it, so that you don't make it too high. Dragging the brown into it, so you've got that sense of light just along the bottom. Just a little bit more under there. when our kids were younger, we all had caravans. That's like me, Lauren, Peter, Joan, John and Malvin with our kids. We all stayed round here at a caravan site just near Howtown. And our Paul and Lynn were only little. And we set off, I said, let's walk to Glenridding. So we walked from Howtown here, right round this, and it just goes on and on round through the woods. And eventually comes out the other side to Glenridding. And there was sort of cries of, I'm hungry, and I kind of go on and stuff. It wasn't the kids, it was me, that. But then we got to Glenridding, went to do a bar, had a drink, and come back on the ferry. I like ferries. Right, so I'm going to just sharpen this line. I'm going to suggest bits of foliage with a darkish colour. I'm not using a black because I actually don't have a black. So I'm just going to push some, this is very dark brown. I'm going to just push some dark brown upwards. Very broken, just to suggest the tree line along the bottom there. Just up there like that. Right, so it's just suggesting the bottom area where the tree line is around the edges. And obviously you do have trees staggered all the way up. Like that. Right, now I want to flatten the lake off, level the lake off. And that might take some doing at my angle, or at my age. So I'm just going to use a very pale blue. I'm going to sort of get, the pastel dust is dropping off the board. Pastel dust is dropping off the board onto some tissue down here. Sticky tissue, and the pastel is being caught, or some of it is, in there. Right. I'll zoom out a fraction because I'm zooming well and you're missing the edges, so I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. If I can figure out where the zoom is. Just for the moment. There, just so you can see the distance. So I can, looking from the angle, I realise the water wants to go up a bit more at that side. So that's all right, just along there. That's okay. What we want now is foliage on this side of the edge here. So we want sort of a fieldy area just here. So just into this area here. Dawn, it's looking beautiful. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you. So just here I want some greenery, and then we're going to put tree like a little tree line going down to the edge down here. So I don't want it to be bright green. I just want a sense of paler green. So I'm going to put an olivey green in first, just to start it. In fact, that might be too bright. Yeah, I'm going to put that in first and then tease it off. So imagine that you stood here, and this is like the fields going in, and there's going to be some trees up here. So just put the green, and it is a bit bright, that, but I'll tone it down. And it's coming down to the lake's edge, just down here. Nice bright green, lovely lake's green. Don't want too much lake because you're sort of looking slightly down from this area up to here, and then the trees sort of just come up and go past this area. So this is the bottom area, right there. I'm just going to fill it in, and then I'm going to just fill it in, and then I'm going to tone that down so it's not an assault on the eyes. The best way to tone it down is probably to use a little bit of yellow ochre in. So using a little bit of yellow ochre in, so you do it down a bit. So I'm just pushing yellow ochre in this land. And I'm doing up and down strokes, just using a flat Terry Ludwig pastel, and just up and down. and then we'll put some other colours in here and there, and just get a feeling of foliage down here. So we're getting that land down there. Drag it in more broken. You want to leave dark patches because you want to feel as though it's darker closer, so just a few patches down here and there like that. And then we're going to use other colours just to create a sense of foliage and flowers. I don't know, shouldn't have mentioned that, into there. So you could actually use little bits of pink in places, just to create a variety of shade. So you could just drag in some little bits of pink. The whole idea of this is to allow the colours to show through. So just little driftings of colour into here. And I'm going to make it just a bit brighter just across there. So I'm just going to get a bit more brighter green into here. I'm finding a brighter green. I'm looking for a brighter green. There we go. A bit of brighter green just into there. Pushing angles up, taking it along and pushing angles up. This is a harder one. This is one of the harder Sennelier pastels, the round ones, and you can push up with the edge so that you can create little sense of foliage. When we get nearer here, we'll push more in darker patches. I'll zoom back in for you. I might have to raise the canvas up. Right, I'm just going to use my trusty gadget. I can only make the canvas so high, that's the problem. The ceiling's in the road. I'm going to have to get a box. I'm going to have to get a box to lift this pastel up a little bit. I'll zoom out so that you can see what I'm doing. See the bottom of the paper there. So using this Sennelier one, I'm just literally just using the edge and just pushing upwards and creating streaks of colours like grasses, etc. And I'm going to create more right over, just using different colours. Going amongst the pink so that the pink doesn't become too dominant. Now you don't need to do upright strokes when you're going over to this far distance. It's meant to be farther away, but just closer here you want sort of more upright feel, more strokes. Timing, oh, you're all right. I'm going to lighten that patch up a little bit. I'll just leave that chalk there. I'm just going to lighten this area up a bit. Just through there. This is meant to be farther down on like the field or the land just on the lake side. And maybe lighter just there. It's meant to be farther away. I'm going to put some trees in a second, and then I'm going to fix the land. So nearer the picture, near the edge here, like little strokes upwards, so you're creating bits. And I'm going to put all sorts into there, doing the same sort of feel. So you can get some darker colours, some darker greens, and you can put darker colours in, so you can create little lines down here. Crisscross them, allowing some of the original colour to show through. Just keep crisscrossing. And then you can lighten parts up, darken parts up along here. I want to put some dark trees in to create the edge of the... Now along here you would have trees in the distance, so you would actually have like a set of trees. So you want a darker green to make it look, it wants to stand out as a silhouette against the edge. So you want a sort of a darker green, and you want to get a line in. Can you see? Yeah. You want to get a dark line just in across there. Coming along this edge here. Just pull it down a little bit, and then just create some foliage, some sort of tree lines. So you're just putting in little bits of, just pushing the pastel up and dotting in. The reason you're dotting in is so that you can create loose foliage. There's another way I'll show you in a second. So you can just sort of put in you know when you drive round, you're driving inside of them trees. You know, it's just at the edge of the lake, so you're driving inside them. So you want this sort of feeling of trees, and I'm going to put a line across here so them trees vanish behind. Make them a bit taller. Take them right off the paper. Dotting in. So you get a bit of light coming through them. What you want to see is through the foliage. You want to be able to see parts of the lake. So you get that into there, making them just a bit bigger there. Now, just go underneath and blend the light in. So you just go underneath with a lighter green, and you just sort of softly blend. So there isn't such a hard transition. Just gently drifting it in. So you just get that sense, a blurred feel to it as it's coming down. And then pull it lighter up as though it's rising up. So pull it lighter up like that, towards where you've been doing the pinks. Just sort of lift it up like that, into there. Now I'll put these other trees in stronger first, and I'll show you what I mean about punching light in. These want to be dark, they want to be strong, you want to feel like strong foliage. So I'm going to use a dark, I had a dark one somewhere, a really dark colour, if I can find it. Just hang fire a minute or two, about an hour, I'll be ready in an hour. There we go. I'm going to put a really dark brown in and then go to green afterwards. So I want to create a sense of trees here. So I'm just going to put a sort of sense of foliage up here. I can zoom in now for you because it's higher up, so I can zoom back in a bit. A sense of foliage, of trees coming down here like this. Just put them in with darks at first. Sort of blocking out parts of the lake. Like that. And take this down to sort of here. So you're taking it down, and it makes a couple bit bigger up there, I think. Taking it down through here, as though it's dropping down. So it wants to feel as though it's dropping down. Like that. Just use lines for the moment. You're going to tidy it up. Once it feels as though it's dropping down that edge. Like that, as though it's going out of sight, just there. And then little bits of greenery there, along there, so just sort of vanish behind it. So you just want that slight touch there. So you want that to look bigger here, dropping down the bank side. So a little bit bigger. down there like that. So you've got that edge going. Use the same dark brown and just put a few sort of lighter touches in the foreground, just lifting little bits up. So you create, what you're trying to create is a sense of darker, of grasses here, just darkening it down. Now we'll put some lighter ones in. Now we're going to put green back into them things. They want to be strong colours, but they don't want to be brown. So you want to, first of all, to put in a strong dark blue into them. So get a sort of a stronger colour. So I'm pushing a blue into the brown, so they're not just bright. They're not just bright. You might not be able to see it on there, but you will see it when I send you the video, because you'll see the individual strokes of blue in amongst the brown. Now I'm going to put some greens in as well, and lift it so it breaks the distant horizon up. So don't keep it below the distant horizon. Like that. And then you want some green, lighter greens into it, so that you get a sense of, not bright, but just a sense of green in. So I've got little touches of a green, little bits here. I'm just going to sort of dab into it. You'll find as you go along what's just happened there, you'll find with these softer pastels, not so much with the square ones, but with the unison round ones. Jennifer, I'd be homeless if I buy any more art supplies. Yeah, someone will kick you out. You'll find that the softer ones break after a while, so you end up with little slivers, little bits, but keep them because you can use them. So I'm just touching bits of green into them trees, dotting them in so that it just breaks up, so it's not just a black silhouette or a dark brown silhouette. So I'm just breaking them up like that. Like that. I want to make a darker one just over to this right hand side here. Make that one go up just a bit farther. Just darkening that one off a bit, put a bit of green into it. Now you want to just drag that same green along the bottom to sort of softly blend them in. Sort of blend that downwards and inwards, just sort of touch it. Now, when you're doing pastels or acrylics, Nestlin's floor up there. When you're doing pastels or acrylics, the best way to do your trees, etc., if you've got something behind them, is not to paint in, you'll not notice it here, but on bigger ones, if I do bigger ones for you, instead of drawing the light and drawing fine branches going up here and there, what you do is you punch the light into them. So you do a mass and then you punch light in as though you can see through. So you would get a light colour and you would just touch in like that in places. Just little flicks where you think the light is, where you think you can see through the lake a little bit. Just little flicks like that. So it looks as though there's separate branches and you can see through to the lake side. So little touches like that. You can put an odd branch in if you want a darker one, but not at this distance, I don't think. Maybe put one or two in. So it's just little flicks like that with the light colour that you get the sense that you can see through them trees to the back of the lake. If you wanted, you could get a sharper dark and put an odd trunk in. But don't overdo it. It just gets too pretty. Now we want this land, we want these trees here. So, like I said, just putting little touches of colour into here in the darker area. So you're just creating little strokes with this darker pastel, and then you can create lighter ones here and there. So you just draw very lightly, scrumble in, and you build it up in a range. So you just build it up through the dark, leaving the dark showing, and you're just sort of flicking in bit by bit with individual colours. And then some darker ones. Little bits of darker colouring here and there. Little touches like that. Right. I'll just take that a bit higher. What you want now? Thank you, Dawn. I'd be homeless. Yep, right. What you want now is to, I'm going to drag some more pink, you know, even purple. I like purple. Just down through here to create a sense of little bits of colour just in amongst it all. So just little ripples. I can't zoom in anymore. The camera is only a matter of a yard, 3 feet away from the canvas. But I've got someone coming to help me sort out the cameras and the sound, so can't do that just yet, but he's eventually will be here. So I'm just adding, I'm just going to get a little bit of more brighter pink here and there, just dotting in down here, little sense of colour. It's all just lightly touched in, and it's just to break up the greenery really, so you don't have the greenery. Now we need to get a feeling of light on the top of this. We've made this foliage deeper, we need to get a feeling of light across the top of it. So you need a very light sort of greeny yellow. I've got a bit there. So just across the top of here, you can, I've got a very light, you can drag a few sort of trails down like that to break up some of the lines. You can just drag a few bits of greens coming down here into there like that, and even dust a few bits of green, lighter greens through them pinks like that. So just dragging a few bits. But what I want now is a sense of light on the top of this. So I'm going to get a sort of a lighter yellow all round, and just touch on the top of this foliage here. I don't know if you can see it. It's not daffodils. I want it just to be a sense of lighter foliage, so I'm going to just drift it sideways a bit and just dot in a few bits. So I don't want it to be looking like a lot of flowers. I just want this going to make it stronger. I'm going to make it stronger. I want a sense of light catching some of this foliage, some of this field going away. So I want a sense of light going down there, and little bits just drag down into this bit down here. So just dragging it down, but more light hitting the landscape down there. So you're creating light area. The sun's coming through these clouds, darker in parts and lighter in parts, so just into there. And I'm just going to break that up a bit, because I don't want it to be too specific. And I'm going to put, A second, Gillian, it's amazing how a beautiful picture emerges from what? From, yeah. I'm forgetting where I'm at. Right, so you could put another line of trees going down here, but I think what I'll do is I'll just put, there's all sorts of fencing and things down there, so I'm just going to put some bit of line of fencing going down. I'm going to make it a darker area, so I'm just going to make a bit darker than that, a bit darker than that. I'm just going to make a darker area just here, drifting off down the hill a bit. Just rub it in with your finger so you blend it just a little bit. A bit light underneath. I don't want it to be too solid. That's it, just get a sense of shadow, etc. From chaos, all right, chaos, yes. I'm good at chaos. Right, what you want now is a sort of a sharper, dark line and just sort of create, instead of putting another line of trees in here, you can just sort of break the land up by putting a sort of bit of fencing in. Just gradually getting closer together and smaller, apart from that one. Just little touches, just to break up that land, and you can sort of drag a little bit of. I wouldn't bother putting fencing going across. I wouldn't bother with lines going across. I would just sort of get this one maybe a bit thicker just here, a bit bigger just here. If you don't like it, I'm not too sure myself, like, but if you don't like it, you can quite easily just take it out. So I think that's about it. I'm going to lighten that up a little bit, just there, because it's just a bit duller. So I'm just going to drag a little bit more sort of yellow ochre in there a little bit. Just drifting it down into the edges of the land. Just in amongst the trees there. And again, oops, sorry. Where we've dotted the lake in here, if you made these trees bigger, they're fairly well down, so it doesn't matter that much. But if you wanted to make them bigger, and you just dot in with the colour of the lake behind it, so you just dot in little patches of light, so that you can sense that you're looking through it in places. You do that rather than, and I will eventually do some of the bigger trees, so you're feeling as though you're looking through, and you're not having to draw tree branches, etc. You draw the dark land in, and then you blast it out. I'm just going to put a bit of light up that dark area there. I think that's right. You've got the feel of the cloud drifting down over the land a little bit, just there, and then a sense of light coming through there. I might just tone down this bright green. I think it might be just a bit bright, so I'm just going to get a yellow ochre and just sort of drift it in a little bit. I'm not filling it over, I'm just scrumbling some harder edges of yellow ochre into there. I don't know about the fence. I'll have a look at it for a while and let my mind go. Just drifting some colour into these a bit. I'm going to break this fence up. I might lose it altogether. Just going to break it up. Right, I'm just going to clean my hands and I'll put a mount over it and see what it looks like. So I'm just going to get, I'm not getting wet wipes because wet wipes just spread the pastel, so I'm just getting some dry kitchen roll, just taking the dust off my fingers. Change the camera. And I'll tilt it round so that you can see it on the other camera. Like that, just pull it out a bit. I will get all the cameras sorted out eventually. It's on a bit of a slant, that camera. I'm just going to take the camera back out. So that you can see the picture better. And then just put this mount around it. The mount's too small, but it gives you an idea. The mount is just a bit too small, but it gives you an idea. So it will be over there, and obviously over here. So if I move it forward, you might see it better. There we go. So as I say, it's not as strong on camera. Well, that camera makes it look better. The other camera makes it look too strong. So it's just a matter of breaking things up with light. Rather than have a solid thing, if you were able to see this close, and I'll send it to you, but it'll be after the weekend or over the weekend. If you look closely, you'll see all the different shades coming through. You'll see purple, blues, greys, behind yellow ochres, etc., to build up that sense of light. And the greens have even got pinks and purples in, just to give a sense of shadow here and there. The fence, I don't know. I can't make my mind up. But I'm happy with that, with Glen Ridden and the sense of trees down there, and that little bit of darker colouring up there. So, Anne, lovely, thank you, Anne. Ken, amazing, thank you, Ken. Thank you, enjoyed this demonstration. Thanks, Anne. I mean, I don't mind doing it, I'm just trying to get... The strange thing is, I've just spent money on a sound thing, and everybody's saying it's better sound coming from my blinking laptop than it is from the cameras and that. So I'll see if I can sort of send that back, I think, rather than keep it. No point in paying, what was it? One was 100, one was 50 odd quid. No point, no point. Dawn, I've got, you can't see, but I've got the cling film over my computer, over my laptop, so that I haven't sort of created dusty fingers all over it. Looks amazing. You like the fencing? All right. I might leave the fencing in then. I like the fencing. Jen, lovely, thank you. Eileen, thank you, beautiful. Yeah. I think pastels are nice. Treat yourselves, and I mean, I will always be doing pastels. I've got 6 sheets down here of new pastel paper. The fencing gives it perspective, right? I think the thing is, now that more concentrated colour of that camera than it is of the other one. I still like that has a more sense of the original, the other one. I don't know, it's a combination between the both. I think the thing is, I'm up that close here, and I've sort of seen things, I'm looking, trying to get a level water as well is difficult. I think I put my back out. I'm now getting pastel, I've lost you. I'm now getting pastel all over my laptop. But if you like that, that's fine. I'm quite pleased with it. I like the skies. It's got all sorts of colours in. It's got lots of different colours in, just layered upon layer, so you get that sense of light. And don't worry if it's not a dead hard line. There's sort of dusty colour just coming out from here into it. It all adds to the pastel feel. There's dusty colour coming out here into the sky. It all adds to that thing. It's not a matter of trying to paint in great detail, it's a matter of getting an atmosphere, getting a feel of it. Second camera gives a better colour, yeah. You like the fence as well, Jennifer, yeah. Yeah, the second camera, that first camera, the brighter one, is a GoPro, which I bought a few weeks back. But the other one, which gives a better colour, the focus isn't that good when I'm coming close. I can't wait for Peter Haygarth to come down and help me sort the cameras out. So what time is it? We're all right. So if you're happy enough with that, and that's the one, wait a second. Nobody saw it. That's the one we did on Tuesday. That one we did on Tuesday. Same with Pastels down here, and that's like a morning sky, sunrise. What I've got to do now, just say it quietly, I've got Pastel on the floor. Look at her downstairs here. Right, all right then. So that's it. I'm having tomorrow and Sunday off. I'll see you. Wait a second. I'll just zoom back out. Do you always use dark paper? Yes. Wait a second. I'm just lost. I'll zoom back out, so we're just back to a natural. I'm trying to zoom back out. I can't zoom back out. We'll just leave it. Yes, Eileen. I tend to use, even when I'm doing, the only time I don't use a dark pastel canvas on acrylics is if it's going to be a bright. When I did the bright skies, I don't bother. But on pastels, I always use a dark paper, and generally on acrylics, I use a dark paper, and I paint into it. The reason is because there's bits of dark showing through here and there, and it's fine. The pastel, it just becomes bad pastel. If it's white paper, you find you have to go on more to get rid of the white. The bits of white are showing through, so it's you can see more. You can paint into it more if you have a darker paper. I've got different colours. I've got bluey, darky blues, greys, browny colours. If you go to the Sennelier, you can see all the different colours and get them. I think any more questions? I think that's about it on questions. I shouldn't be touching this laptop with these hands, and I shouldn't be. I won't let Lynn know the floor's covered. I daren't walk away from here because I'll have. It's the same when I'm at home. I walk pastel all over, dust. And I mean, new easel's got pastel all over. So I'll leave it at that for you. I'll see. I've sent you the. I sent you the boy picture so that you can. I've seen quite a few of what you've been sending me on the boy, on the David Bowie one. Bowie. I haven't got anything here. It's up at home. Have a look at mine and get more narrower eyes. Don't make the eyes too broad. So you want a narrow. I'm going to do the eyes on Monday, and well, it should get finished Monday. But from one of the ones I've seen, the eyes are too big. You've got to make it look. He's sort of looking, contemplating, isn't he? He's just sort of squinting through the eyes of it. So that's it, and it's that gets the features, the face. You've got to keep, when you do the pot, you've got to keep looking. You've got to keep looking at the person you're doing or the photograph you're doing from. Look at it, draw. Look at it, draw. So you if you noticed on yesterday, I altered part of the lines as I was coming down because I felt I too long in places. So it's a matter of just judging it all the way. I'll just show you 1 second. I'll just clean my hands. One second. I'll just show you around the gallery. I didn't move too far. Which camera are we on? That one. So there's the gallery coming round. That's the coffee station over there. When you're ever up here, just straighten it up, you get coffee. That's the TV camera where people sit and can watch watch it on TV as well. And then it's farther round. And it goes farther round still, but I can't turn the camera any farther. Wait a second. There it goes. That's keep going. There's the couches. There's the little stool that somebody sat on and broke. There's over there one of the paintings of. Whoop, sorry, and there's the paintings that my favourite one of the train in the station. That one, and the one next to it. And there, where you can see that brown is the downstairs. That's you go downstairs down there. So I'll sort of just take it back. No, I'm going to leave it because I'll destroy everything. So I'll just switch to the other camera. So yes, so that's it really. Any more comments? Yes, that's fine. I think you're all right. I think I can see Elvis. Yes, Elvis hasn't left the building. Do you know, with Elvis, it sold straight away, but we only found out afterwards that it was Lynn's husband who bought it. He persuaded, because Jeff, he dives in on my paintings. If I do, and I want that, and Lynn said, you can't have it. So he has quite a lot of my originals, and I've done some for him for Christmas and stuff. You wouldn't think they lived together. But what happened was he persuaded somebody in Ferry Hill to bid for the painting and buy it. So Lynn says, you've sold it already, Dad, 500 quid. I says, oh, that's good. It was only afterwards we found out it was Blinking Jeff. I says, well, Jeff wouldn't have had to pay 500 quid. Lynn says, well, I'll get me commission. So we've got to be careful. Jeff's using other people to buy my artwork. I think he's going to plan to get rid of me. Right. Where's your table gone? Your table, Ken, all the tables have gone. Your table in the corner, in a second I'll show you. I'll change back to the other camera, I'll show you where you were. Right, so, turn it round. That's the sort of the centre. We've got couches in there now, and then the little coffee tables that somebody sat on and broke. There's where you were, Ken, and Robin. It was Ken, not Robin, Ken and yes, Robin. No, Bernard. Sorry, get confused on this. So yeah, so you're all over there. That's where you were, where the coffee station is now. The one over there, which is vanished, just behind the couch, was where she who shall not be named used to sit and stuff. And there were six tables in here, weren't there? 6 tables in here. 12 people. Right, so I'm just rambling now. Turn that back. Lock it off. So that's it. I'm gonna spend the next half hour wiping the floor down. So wait a second, the camera's tilted. I can hear Lynn moving around, she might come upstairs, so I'm going to pack in and I'm going to wipe the floor down first. So I shall see you on Monday morning, and we'll finish off David Bowie. Now if you want me to do anything like acrylics or pastels down here on the Tuesdays or the Fridays, by all means let me know and I'll do some down here I'm going to be doing mainly pastels and big acrylics. So if there's anything you fancy me doing, I'll do it. These pictures, the one I did on Tuesday and this one, you will get, but I'll have to edit them a bit because there's a lot like now of rambling on and stuff like that. So there's no more comments as far as I can see. I think you've all gone to sleep. Right, I'm going to say ta-ra, and I'm going to just clean up me easel, the floor and everything. So I'll see you later. If I can figure out how to stop this now. See you later, folks. Bye. I'd like to order a print. All right. I shall sort that out. If you can still hear Dawn, I've got your message for a print.